All right, guys, so I know how tricky Amazon FBA product research can be. So in this video, I want to share with you exactly what I changed with my product research process that made things a lot easier to find good products to sell on Amazon. So what happens is a lot of new sellers come to Amazon and they jump straight onto Amazon. They start their product research, but they don't truly know what they're looking for. They go in quite blind. They haven't thought about their own individual goals, their budget, and also when they find a product, they don't truly know how to analyze it correctly because they don't have their criteria already laid out for them to compare it to. So in this video, what I want to do is talk you through this checklist that you guys can download completely free. What I'll do is I'll post it as a pinned top comment, so you guys will be able to scroll down, hit that like button on the way down, click on the comment, and you can download it. It's completely free. There's nothing to sign up for or anything like that. It's just a 2-page PDF that will help you guys with your product research. And if you're a member of the FBAelite.com forums, just go to the resource section and it's in there with all of the other resources. You can see here, template, product research checklist 2.0. Click on that and hit the download button, and that will download this PDF for you guys. So let's run through this PDF, and hopefully it's going to help you with your product research and make it a lot easier than it currently is. So what I've done is I've broken this PDF down into different sections, and then for each sections we have a tick box to make sure you've done that for every single product, and this really will help you with your product research. So let's start with budget and goals. So the first tick box, your budget. How much are you willing to invest in stock? And in brackets here, I've got 3 months stock. That's how much you want to invest with your first order. The reason for that is you need enough inventory to actually launch the product, which will probably take 2 to 4 weeks to get the organic ranks up to where you want them to be. You then probably want another month or so to solidify those ranks. And then preferably the 3rd month of stock as well will help prevent you going out of stock, so before that second batch arrives. So if the first batch goes well, after 3 or 4 weeks, you're probably going to order that second batch. And if you can avoid going out of stock, it's much more beneficial for your listing, as it will save you having to relaunch and losing all of that momentum that you've invested with that initial round of PPC. You'll see next to that as well, I've also got and monthly revenue targets. So this figure, I want you guys to treat as the same thing. Now, it might not be exact, but certainly simplifies things, and that is the whole purpose of this video and this checklist. So let's say, for example, you've got £3,000 to invest in stock, and that needs to last you for 3 months. Well, in that case, your monthly revenue target should also be £3,000. So these figures aren't just something I've plucked out of the air. This is based on my own experience of selling on Amazon. So effectively, what you're going to be doing with £3,000, you'll have £1,000 of stock each month to sell. And if your inventory is about 33% or so of your overall revenue, that is why your monthly revenue will be the same as your budget, as it's just over a single month instead of spread over 3 months. So in short, whatever your budget is for 3 months of stock, put that as your monthly revenue target as well. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to put £3,000 in here. And then your monthly profit target should be about 30% of the revenue. So if you're targeting £3,000 in revenue per month, then 30% of that is around about £900, or you can put about £1,000. This isn't about being exact, it's about general guidelines just to speed up and simplify your product research. And then here at the bottom, I've got monthly sales of less than 300 units for new sellers. And the reason that is so important is if you're launching a product on Amazon, achieving the sales velocity above 300 is very, very difficult. Hitting 300 sales per month is more than achievable. That's 10 sales per day, and that's fairly doable with PPC. But say you found a product where you've got to sell 1,000 units per month, you're going to invest an absolute fortune on PPC trying to achieve that sales velocity. So I would always recommend trying to hit your monthly revenue target with a product that sells less than 300 units per month, as it's going to be a lot easier for you to launch that product than maybe something that sells 500 or 600 units per month, or even more than that. So that's the first section, your budget and goals. Hopefully that will help you guys outline what you're trying to achieve with Amazon. The second thing I want you guys to check is relevancy. So there are 2 points to this. One, ensure you are analyzing the most relevant high volume search term. And a lot of sellers get this wrong. They're analyzing the incorrect search term for the particular product they're looking at. I'm going to show you a quick cheat for this in a moment. And secondly, the majority of the listings should be comparable. And again, I'm going to show you that in a moment. So let's say, for example, you found the chopping board niche and you found a particular chopping board that you want to sell. Now, most people would assume that chopping board would be the best keyword to analyze. But let's say, for example, you're selling a wooden chopping board or a chopping board set. Then what you want to do is actually see what the search volume is for those particular keywords, then go into each one of those keywords and do your analysis. So if you're selling wooden chopping boards, you want to find which has the highest one. So let's have a look across these different examples here. We've got chopping board wood at 769. I don't know if we've got wooden chopping board here at 1,295. So that's probably going to be the most relevant keyword to analyze if you were selling a wooden chopping board, or if you were selling a chopping board set. So you had multiple chopping boards, or a chopping board with containers. Don't just analyze the top keyword because it has the most volume, as you want to see the actual demand for the type of product you're going to be selling. So that's really important, making sure you're analyzing the correct keyword. And this search expander from Helium 10 is part of their standard package, is really, really helpful, and it speeds up this process and it makes things so much easier. The other thing as well is, for example, you might find a chopping board within kitchen accessories. And this is what I mean with making sure all of the products are comparable. Just because there may be a chopping board somewhere, for example here, a chopping board set within these search results, doesn't mean if I run analysis on this, it provides any value at all, because none of these products are comparable. Only one of them is a chopping board, and then we've got paper towel holders, we've got food storage, we've got a sink caddy, etc. So make sure all of the products are comparable and make sure you're analyzing the most relevant keywords. The next thing I want you guys to check is the seasonalities. There are two things to check here. Number one, check the sales history for 5 of the top sellers. And number 2, check search volume history for the top keywords. So if we go back to the chopping board niche as an example, this is X-ray from Helium 10. Go to the search volume here, click on the line chart, and you can see here how the search volume has varied throughout the year. So it looks like there's definitely a pickup in November and December, as you may expect, and also a bit into January as well. And then things quieten down a bit during the summer months. So do this for any of the products that you're considering. Also go on to some of the top sellers. Click on the sales graph here, and then you can see how this product has performed over the past year. And what you want to do is you want to do this for multiple products so you can get a real feel for how this niche performs over the year. So by checking the actual sales history of individual products and seeing how they compare, and also the search volume history as well, you'll get a real feel for whether a product is seasonal or not. And if you're a new seller, I would generally recommend avoiding seasonal products. You want to focus on finding a product that will sell really well all year round, and not just for a couple of months of the year. The next thing I want you to take a look at is the sales distribution. So I used to just call this page 1, but page 1 sizes varies between different niches. So I'm just focusing on the top 20 organic results for now. So number 1, at least 5 other private label sellers selling at a similar price and revenue levels. So the reason for this is you want to see basically a landing zone for your own product. So you want to see evidence of existing sellers achieving similar sales figures. So if you can see at least 5 other sellers, so for example here, we've got at least 5 other sellers somewhere in that 400 to 500 units, if that's what you are targeting, selling around £20, £20, £20. That would give you some evidence that the type of product you're going to be launching already has proven sales demand and a proven price point as well. So it's extremely important you can see evidence of at least 5 other existing private label sellers achieving the goals you're going to be targeting. We also want to see at least 1 new private label seller launched in the past 12 months on the first page. So if you scroll over to the right hand side on X-ray, you will see when these creation dates were. So at the moment we're at the end of 2022, and we can see here we have someone that has launched at the start of 2022 and been able to break onto this first page. If all of these listings were 2018, 2019, it shows it's been very difficult for a new seller to enter the market. So you want to see at least 1 person has done this in the past 12 months. And also, we want to see at least 1 non-CN, which is China, listing. So if we come back to X-ray again, we'll scroll back over here. It shows you the seller country or region. So if all of these were CN, often what it shows is that the profit margins are too tight and there's only Chinese sellers left in this particular niche. We can see here we have quite a few sellers from GB, which means there are healthy profit margins usually to be had in these niches, and it's possible for us UK sellers to enter these niches. So make sure there's at least 1 non-CN listing in this list, and that will show that this product has potential for you guys to get involved with it. After that, I want you to take a look at brand domination. This is a very quick check. Ensure niche is not dominated by big brands or AMZs, so Amazon themselves. So a maximum of 5 in the top 20 listings. If you see lots of big brands or you see lots of AMZ listings, you might want to look at other niches. And the majority of listings should be private label, FBA, and not FBM. The reason for that, if you see lots of FBM listings, it normally means the product is too big or weighty to sell as an FBA product. So that's why people are selling it as FBM instead of FBA. And that first point there, which is about ensure the niche is not brand dominated, scroll over to this left hand side, look at the brand column. None of those are really jumping out at me. And also if you scroll back over to this right hand side, it will tell you the type of fulfillment. So most of these are FBA with only 1 or 2 AMZs, and there's no FBM sellers. So there's no red flags in this particular niche for those 2 issues. We then have price point. So this is really straightforward. If you're a non-VAT registered seller, you want to be finding products that sell for a minimum of £15. And if you're VAT registered, you want to be selling for a minimum of £20, as becoming VAT registered does hit your profit margins a little bit. Now, the reason you want to target at least £15 is when you come to launch the product, you want a bit more wiggle room when it comes to PPC. So if you're selling at £15, you're probably going to have a profit margin of about £5, which if you find an average niche, that'll be somewhere between 3 to 5 clicks you can afford on PPC before you've used up all of your profit margins. Whereas if you're selling a product for maybe £6, you might be lucky to have 1 click before you used up all of your profit margins. So by selling for a minimum of £15, you have a lot more wiggle room when it comes to launching your product, and you won't have to get into such a big hole financially by investing massively in PPC at a loss, because some of that loss will be absorbed by the profit margin you have on the product. So that's why I recommend a minimum of £15 for new sellers that are not VAT registered. We then have profitability. So I want you guys to aim for 30% plus. So that's excluding PPC, returns and storage. And hopefully by the time you take all of those things into account, you'll end up somewhere between 20 to 30%, which is still a really good return to be making on your FBA product. And I've got a very basic formula that you guys can use here to calculate your exact profit margin. So aim for 30% plus, and that should give you the leeway for some of the expenses that you will incur. And we also have a formula here for your return on investment. So you want to aim for about 100% plus. So for every £10 you invest, you want to get £20 back. You get your £10 original investment plus £10 of profit. But realistically, if you end up somewhere around 80 to 90% ROI, that is absolutely fine as well. And again, I've included a formula here that you guys can use to calculate your ROI. And then we come on to size and weight of the packaged product. Now, this is super important as you start to go up the different brackets within the Amazon tiers, the costs go up an awful lot. So what I've put here are what I think are the maximum you should be considering to make sure your product doesn't incur too high a fee. So standard parcel would be the maximum that I would go to, which has dimensions of 45 by 34 by 26, and that is the package dimension. So not the size of your assembled product, it's the size of the packaged product, and the weight I want you to try and keep below 1.9 kilograms. And if I take you over to the rate card here, you can see why. So this is your standard parcel, and everything above this is generally going to be cheaper than what I'm going to talk about now. So up to 1.9 kilograms as a standard parcel is only going to cost you £3.64 as a fulfillment cost. And if you scroll up, it gets cheaper depending on the weight. And if you're in some of these smaller tiers, you can see it's even cheaper as well. So standard parcel or below or above, as I'm scrolling up, is what you want to aim for, because once you get past that 1.9 kilograms, it jumps up to £5.16. And if you fall outside the standard parcel and you go to small oversize or above, you can see the costs start to get very, very high. Now, I'm not saying you should completely exclude all products that might fall into these tiers. If all of the other metrics stack up and your margins stack up, sure, consider it. But generally, standard parcel at 1.9 or below is where you want to be, and that's why I've put it into this checklist. Next up, we have reviews. So avoid niches with lots of products averaging 5-star reviews. It's very difficult to average 5 stars. It is easier to average 4 or 4.5 stars. So if all of the products have got 5 stars, you're going to find it very, very difficult to compete against those. And secondly, avoid niches where most of the products have 4 figures. If the majority of other sellers have 4 or 5 figure reviews, it shows it's very difficult to break into that first page. And then finally, and this is the most important point that you want to spend the most time on, once you've gone through all of those other things, if everything else checks out, the key thing you have to think about is how are you going to visually stand out in that niche? You need your VSP, which is your visual selling point. When a customer comes to that niche, Why are they going to see your products over all of the other products? Why are they going to choose your product? And that is what your visual selling point is there for. You could have the best product in the world, but if the customer does not know that, if it does not catch the customer's eyes, if your main image does not communicate that to the customer, you will not make a sale. So your visual selling point is so important. And that's why I put it last, as I want you to spend the most time on that once everything else checks out. So hopefully you guys have found this video helpful. It will help you with your product research. We've got some resources and discounts you can use there. If you want to use Helium 10, which is what I use for all of my product research, use the discount code FBA Elite 20, which is in this PDF. Go to the pricing section on Helium 10 and pop it into the discount code box here. Make sure you untick that and you'll get 20% off for your first 6 months, or use that code and you'll get 25% off for the entire year, which is the most cost-effective way to buy Helium 10. So hopefully you guys have found this useful. Make sure you download the PDF, scroll down to the pinned top comment. You can download it there completely free. Hit the like button while you're down there. And if you want to know how I actually find these products in the first place, make sure you check out the video I'm going to pop up now. It is the best method I use for finding products on Amazon. And I'll see you guys in the next video.